Okay, we're back at the bench. Other side of the bench, really. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this plunger engages the trigger bar here. That sits right there. Dagnabbit. Let's get the right angles here. It's right there. That's how it rides. And if you change the geometry of this plunger a little more, you can get a lighter trigger pull, better reset. Don't do it too much. Like I said, I'm not going to advocate that because you can really mess this thing up. And that's how it engages right there. You can engage, you can get it to where it engages later in the game. Let's say this plunger's sitting there and you change the geometry a little bit, it rides out and it changes it right there. That changes your pull a little bit. But again, I'm not going to show you how to do that because that's fine tuning. And if you came to me and said, listen, Rooster, I want a 5-ounce trigger to shoot bunny fart loads with, and I'd say, okay, this is at your own risk and do what you want to do, but I'll do it for you if you pay me. So again, I'm not going to advocate you do this any lower than a 4-pound trigger. But this will produce a nice clean crisp trigger. Anything different, it's going to be a lot different when we get done with it. Let's start putting stuff back together. When we get done with this, it's going to be, first I'm going to put this doodad here, the slide back together. When we get done with this, it's going to be a nice crisp trigger pull with a different reset than earlier, and you'll see. You got your plunger in there. Let's go to your parts bin. We're going to need again, you don't have to use a big cottage cheese tub like I did, but that's pretty much idiot proof for me, so if I tip it or something, everything's going to stay close. And plus it has a wide enough bottom I can fit my fat hands down in there. But yeah, like I said, if you came to me and said, Rooster, I want a 2.5-pound trigger and this and that, I wouldn't care to do it for you, but I'm not going to advocate it on a video where anybody can do it the wrong way. Let's get your sight there. Okay, let me get this stuff into a better mode that I don't have to break my dang back to get it in there. Okay, striker, sights. There's your little bit to put your sights back on. Here's your plunger spring. Let's get that doodad down in there. Mine's bent. I'm putting it on like I changed the sights out on this the other day just to see what it would do. Mine's bent. I'm sure I'm not the only person that's ever done that. Got it cinched up underneath there. So I've just got a bent one right now. It still works as long as you put the bent in and underneath the plunger and don't put it underneath this little disc. That's where I messed up, is because I was goofing off and putting these sights on, took the old sights off, put some night sights on it, and I screwed up and cinched the little spring there underneath this disc. Now this is going to be a tedious thing, and I don't want to bend my spring again, so I'm going to try to get this on camera, but I can't promise you anything. Let's see if I can get it down a little closer here. We're going to try to be as friendly as possible. If you hear any cussing, please just hold your hands over your ears. This little disc, for a guy with big hands like me, this little disc is a bear to get on there. And I'll tell you what, you have to go from this side because you're putting your sights on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of fish it. What you don't want to happen is this little rascal. Let me get my little pinchers, call them pinchers. Get that little disc out of there. That little thing is just so small that, I mean, it's not even, I can't do anything with it. So what I'm going to have to do is hold that right there and push that down with both fingers. And I'm going to slide this over top. And again, Brand X makes a sight removal tool. But this is where I messed up last time. Pay attention, kids. Last time I had that disc and I bent my little spring up underneath there. and didn't know it until I'd already put my sights back on. And of course that cinched up in there. Now you want to make sure you do this the right way. Again, that's go. Sit it down in there. You want to slowly, you want to use your sights to push that. And if you notice anything at this point, like that thing's bent out, or it doesn't pop back and forth real good, you need to go back and do it again. So let's get that right there and push it on as tight as you can. Now I'm done with my little 99-cent sight removal tool. And I'm going to put these sights back on while I'm talking to you. Again, using my vise and my leather pad here. Get them centered up as best I can. But, this is a boring job, but somebody's got to do it. If I've looked around on the internet and can't find anybody that gives you a how-to video, and there's one guy that has looks like a PowerPoint presentation, but that leaves a lot to be answered. And you don't, what do you do with this, or what happens, how much material do I take off, or show me. I'm the kind of guy that likes to watch a video better than I like to read things. Call me simple. But and again, these sights, you can do it your own way. Figure out, you're going to be looking at both sides, and I just use a retractable. Let's see if I can get that in. A retractable pencil, and measure the lead to the end of the tip there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a minute. To make sure I squared up. I'm just using all the simple tools here as a guesstimate. You can laugh all you want, but hey, it works for me. And like I tell everybody else, our ancestors used stones and wood. What's wrong with me using a screwdriver with a piece of tape on the end of it as a punch to keep from marring up my sights? And again, you're not whacking it here. You're not hitting it hard. You're just tapping it. The first time you take your sights off, you might have to give it a couple of good hard punches, but the main thing here is you're gonna make sure you want to square up your sights to the back of the receiver there, or to the little dovetail, because you want to make sure that they're fairly square, because these aren't adjustable sights. I've thought about, a guy can make a lot of money, and I don't know if I've looked around and couldn't find any adjustable sights for this pistol. But I'm the kind of guy, if I shoot low to the left, I'm going to fix my sights instead of fix my shooting. So, but you see where I just kind of use my little pencil there as a guide, even there, and then flip it over, and if it's even on that side, between the side and that's good. Good enough for me. It's close. Okay. Let's put our little screw back in. And I wouldn't recommend cinching this thing down with this little tool. This is a little Craftsman bit driver set. I'm just going to set it on top of there and tighten her down. Boring stuff, huh? But it's got to be done. And tighten this up. Just, you don't want to bear down on that thing because it will break your key. And you want to have some problems, strip that sucker out. Strip that little bit in there out, where you have to drill it out. I wouldn't even want to think about it. Let's make sure I have my right plunger here, because not plunger. First thing I want to do before we do this is make sure our plunger moves freely, because we did mess with it a little bit, mess with that spring. And sometimes you've got to punch in on that little thing. Make sure everything's seated. See right here. Sometimes that spring gets kind of caught in there. You want to punch on that to make sure it's, hear that, moving back and forth. See how nice and shiny it is? You get it from the factory, it's all dingy, and I really don't care. It's smooth. That's all I care about. So let's get our striker. I keep calling it plunger, striker. And the way to get this bad boy back in there is we're going to push this right here. While we're pushing on that, this is where you need to have a 6th finger or a 3rd hand or something. Push that down in there and let it go till it clicks. And that's in there good. Okay, might not click, but now, see if I can get this on camera. Push that sleeve down a little bit and see if you can get that down. And reinstall. Here goes the 6th finger again. Put the back, the striker cover, or the, there you go. Got the back on it. Sorry this is all out of focus. I'm just talking you through it, but you know the general idea. Got that back together. Okay. Make sure that moves. Make sure that stops. Okay, now while we're at it, let's go ahead and throw our barrel. Again, I give high marks to KKM Precision, some of the best barrels that you can get in a pistol. I tried Storm Lake. I'm not going to badmouth them. I prefer KKM Precision. They're good barrels, and they'll stand behind their product. Most companies do these days. I will say that. I will give it to customer service, because there are a lot of good companies out there. Okay, now this is the fun part. Let's see if we can refocus here so I'm not breaking my back again. Let's get this down here. Okay, right there is where I'm going to give you a little tip. Get into our parts bin. We've only got 4 items left in here. Let's just dump these out and make sure that they stay right here in our general location. Better only have 4 parts left, or you did something wrong. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go ahead and start this pin. This is the Sear pin through that hole, and don't tip this upside down. Like I said, if you get that little plunger and that little spring out of there, you'll have hell to pay to get that thing back in there. Just get that pin started. You can tilt it if you want, but you don't want to turn it upside down. Good night almighty. There it is. Got that pin started. Had it going in the wrong hole. Okay, now this is another situation where you're going to need an extra hand. If you can do it by yourself, hats off to you, boys. Okay, you want to make sure first that this takedown, or whatever you want, a safety, mag safety or whatever, is up. You don't want it to be down. And you get that Sear in there, and you're going to mess with it back and forth. Now this is where you use your middle finger on the back side of the pin. Right there, you hold it right there in place, and you push it down in there. See if I can get her. And you can turn it sideways on this because you've got your but you don't want to take your fingers off that while it's under tension, because it will fly out. I mean, dagnabbit. This is going to take a minute. Get that bad boy out of there. Push this back out. It's kind of a bad angle to be at, but it's got to be done. Let's push that back just to right there. See if I can find my had a headlamp somewhere. Oh well, guess I'm gonna have to do it. There it is. Use my headlamp. My junk table over here. It's where I store everything that's not in use, and it's piled to the ceiling. Okay, I'm going to need to use a headlamp on this because I'm about half blind. Let's make sure we get that in there, and it goes, the little part that you worked on there goes forward. Again, middle finger on the back side. You're looking down in there. See if I can get that on camera. You're fishing for that hole there. You're going to wiggle that sucker back and forth. It'll go. You just got to be patient. It's like working on model planes. Something I never have been good at, but what in the world is that sucker not going? Okay, this is getting boring, I know. Just bear with me. Again, that needs to be down. There we go. Got it. Hear the proverbial click. Now she's in there good. Now you just need to get this little just push it just a little bit just till it looks right. Okay, now that's done. We've got our sear back in. Now let's try to hurry this up. Trigger bar, this will slide. See if I can get it just right. This will slide back in there. Let me get her the right angle. There, go up. Okay, that'll slide in there like that. That's how it goes. And again, first thing I want to do is make sure that I have my little plunger from earlier that I left out. If you have one of these pistols with the little hole there, the little safety fire hole, whatever they call that thing, it's a and that goes in there. This is a situation where you need an extra hand, and this is no joke, because everything has to fit in there just right. But it's not hard, you know. Like I said, you just got to do some work with it. And let me pan out a little bit and see if we can get the whole job going here. That slides in like that. It's kind of hard to do on camera. I did it 3 times yesterday. It slides out like that. It's got some little grooves down in there that it needs to slide into. There we go. Push it down, click, pop, and we are in. Good to go. Outstanding. Everything's tight. There's no loose parts jiggling around, and the only part we have left over is to punch this back in. So as long as you don't have any parts left over, you're good. So again, lay that flat, use my punch. I'm going to start off with my plastic hammer. Got it almost all the way in, and again I'm going to use this doodad here to hit it twice. Okay. Put it back together and I will come back.